Let's go. This ain't the Rock Night, or this game can he stink.
Oh shit!
It's gone.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Pro Fan Talk. My name is Marcus Thomas. Thank you for joining me. Happy Thursday to you. And I hope everybody's walking okay, moving around okay. I hope your backsides are not too damaged from that behind whooping we took last weekend. Happens like that sometimes. You got to keep it moving. Just one of those things, one of them days, you got to take it the way you get it. Sometimes you get the bear. Sometimes the bear gets you. It's that simple. What's up, Brian Daly? What's up, the Bull RJ? I see my dad in the building. All my people first out the limo. I appreciate you. Yeah, man, we just got that's a plain old good old fashioned ass whooping. Took him to the shed, took him out back, asked you to go get a switch. That was like your old grandma style butt whooping, where she told you to go out back, pick your own switch, and tow your behind up, man. It was yeah, that was bad for business. And if you remember last week, I said it. What did I say? We had to be better with our linebackers. We had to be able to cover, and we had to be able to tackle. The tackling has been god awful the last 4 or 5 games. And last weekend was no daggone different. That was woof. Good grief. That was that was bad. So I don't man, I don't understand. I get it. In my opinion, that has a lot to do with what we don't do in preseason. When you don't start out tackling, hitting, like really knocking heads, you lose that edge. And it was we've had some games where we were bad at tackling, but that has got to be the worst performance I've seen from our defense in a long time. Well, let me preface it by saying a defense that's supposed to be pretty good. Now, we know we have our issues. We know our secondary issues. We know our linebacker issues. We knew what happened the first half of the year with the injuries in the secondary and all of that kind of stuff. Having said all of that, I'll be hard-pressed to look back and try to remember a time where our defense looked that bad trying to bring a man down. I just don't remember it. That was bad technique. I was in on those conversations with Seth, and we were talking about the attitude that you have to have for tackling, and then all the stuff with Slay. And it was like dude, what are you? Oh my God, man. Like, out of all the things that you want to come back to, that you want to respond to, that's what you choose to respond to. And it's like, yo, bro, the big guy in the sky don't lie. Film does not lie. If your effort is not there, the film is going to tell on you, period. And that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. It was ugly. I know it had to be a very tense film session. If it wasn't, then them coaches need to be fired because they ain't doing their jobs. This is Rob Povia. What's going on, bro? This is one of those weeks where you get in the meeting room and you ask the coaches to leave. This is one of those games where your captains are supposed to step up and start reaming some folks out and calling it like it is. So I don't know if that happened. I heard what you call it, AJ Brown's comments about just wait and see and all that. I'm like, okay. But if you don't, the bad thing about that is in a situation like right now, the best thing you can do is not say jack. Don't say a daggone thing. Because if you put stuff out there like that, you wait and see, we're going to get it together. And when you start doing the rah-rah stuff, and then you go back out there and put up another dud, man, the heat is going to come down on you, and you will be the focus. So I'm one of them type of dudes is like, keep all of that stuff quiet. The only thing you got to do is go out there and ball. That's it. So it's a lot to go with this. And it's a lot of blame to go around. And now, you know what I mean? We trying to get ready for the next one. We trying to get ready for these boys. Because you already know that they coming ready and they licking their chops from what happened the last time. We tried to give it to them. They didn't want to take it. We came out with the dub and they gave one away. Let's keep it real. We gave that game to them and they didn't want to take it. So that's their fault. But it was my opinion, and I still believe it, that we were going to sweep Dallas after that game. Because we beat them at home. We had Jalen Hurts was far from back to 100%. We already knew what the situation was in our secondary. So we had a lot of stuff going on. The secondary, I think that was Byard's second game back? So there was a lot of things going on. And even with all of that, they still couldn't beat us. So my logic is Jalen's a little bit more healthy, a lot more healthy. We'll be getting Dallas Goedert back. The secondary is playing halfway decently now. But now we got this linebacker problem. At least that's only one problem, not a lot of problems. But that's a big problem. The linebacker issue is a big deal. Let's make no bones about it. So we got to figure out what's going on and what we're going to do. It definitely is time to focus on the Cowboys, Brian. But we got some questions to answer. We really got some questions to answer. I ain't never seen the team's soul get took like that, like a Mortal Kombat fatality. That's a good one. That's about right. We were sitting there dazed, and they said they came up with the finish him. And Debo went 40 yards or whatever. Or Jennings slapped Eli Ricks out of bounds and went on to score a touchdown. Like it was bad. They had two finish moves on us, and we couldn't do nothing about it. I didn't know that. Slay didn't do his podcast this week, huh? That's funny. That's funny. We were talking. This was the thread I was on with Seth and Barrett Brooks. I sent it out to a whole bunch of other Eagles alumni, but like we didn't have those problems because it seems like the optics of it is because for us, for the Eagles, that is the second time that a player responded to something on social media. Now, the first situation was Kenny Gainwell. He talking to an unknown quantity. He didn't like what he saw. And, the people in the Twitterverse and social media, they can say whatever they want with impunity, basically. But the situation with Slay, you coming from an Eagles Hall of Famer and an all-time great on defense. Some would argue he should be in the Hall of Fame, and I agree. So when an OG speaks to you, you're supposed to just shut up and listen. But because all these boys are always on social media, coming up with their own distractions, you got to come back and no, we ain't this and we ain't that. And it's like, bro, look at the tape, man. Don't sit there and tell me we were aggressive and you wanted to come up and make tackles. And you watch that tape. There is a clear distinction between making a tackle and making a business decision. Two different things. Two different things. You go on YouTube, look up what Deion Sanders talked about when he tried to tackle Bo Jackson. He don't get paid to tackle. He gets paid to cover. But he had to do what he had to do. And he hawked him down, and he said Bo did him like that. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It ain't really nothing you can do about it. And at the end of the day, we got another game coming already. So that's how you have to approach it. We already got new life. Learn from it and keep it going. That's the only thing you can really do. Keep it moving. That's the one great thing about football. As soon as you get beat, there's another play coming. As soon as you lose, there's another game coming. And luckily right now we are still sitting in the mix, and not for nothing, our playoff implications are secured. Now, whether or not we get a first round bye, anything like that, that remains to be seen. But we are in the playoffs. We can lose the rest of the games. We are in the playoffs. We got that covered. Now we just trying to set ourselves up so we can get that first week bye, rest up a little bit, and then see what we got. But we've got to do a better job on the X's and O's because, again, we got out-coached, we got outplayed, we got out-physical. They set the tone. All of that. They did all of that to us. And it did look like didn't nobody even want to touch Debo. So we got to be able to set the tone in these upcoming games, man. We let the 49ers set the tone on us. We let them be more physical with us. If we did what we were supposed to do on that field, that whole situation with Big Dom would not have happened. It was coincidence that the tackle happened right in front of Dom. But for the most part, if the Eagles would have been handling their business, that does not happen. Doesn't happen. But we were reacting to the tone. We didn't set the tone. And then Jalen didn't look the greatest. First play of the game, he misses a wide open wide receiver, which what should have been a 30 to 40 yard gain. He just doesn't release the ball. And it seems to me like you got to ask the question when you watch the tape. Is he trying to force the ball to A.J. Brown? All those times he took the coverage sacks when he was back there waiting. Like, nah, bro, you got to make a decision. If your internal clock is going past 4 seconds, it's time to roll out. You've been patient enough. It's time to roll out. Get what you can get. Or here's a novel concept. Hit the check down. Hit Swift, hit Gainwell, hit Boston Scott. Hit the check down. Let them get 3 to 4 yards. If they get 3 to 4 yards, it's better than you running to get 3 to 4. Or you'll get popped in the head and have to go and we got to check on you for concussion protocol. That's what we don't want. Give the ball to the guys you pay to run the ball. That's all you got to do. You're doing too much. That's what my sister say. You're doing too much, Jalen. Do what you got to do. So, it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. My hot player, Rashad Pitt. Listen, I'm all for it. Put Penny in the game. Let's see what he can do. Because the only thing you're doing right now is wasting his time. Yeah, he collecting the check, but I guarantee you he'd rather be playing. Period. He'd rather be playing. He didn't come here to sit around. Well, I can't say that because I don't know what the conversation was when they signed him. So, you gotta take it from that standpoint. I know he wants to play, but I don't know why they not putting him on the field. He can't do any. I can't say that because when the backs get their opportunities and we commit to running the ball, we have success. But for whatever reason, it's like we run the ball a couple times, and if they hit their quota for whatever it is they're looking for, they stop running the ball. We had the same problem last year. The same problem last year. The first 4 games, they were trying to throw the ball all over the place instead of letting Jalen do what he does. Then after that 5th and that 6th game, they implemented the RPO like it was supposed to be, and it opened everything up because they didn't know what the hell we was doing. They didn't know if Jalen was running, Miles Sanders was running, and even remember, we talked about this last year a lot about how much they weren't running Miles Sanders, whether you liked him or not. Miles Sanders was above 5 yards a carry. And if you watch me long enough, at the end of the year, I calculated the math, and just based on statistics, based on his yards per carry, if Miles Sanders would have had anywhere close to the amount of carries that the kid from the Raiders had, he would have led the league in rushing. And the funny part is they haven't been running DeAndre Swift right in about 3 weeks. And he's still one of the top backs in the league. And they're not giving him the ball. Just get a kid the ball. Screen, check down, handoff. That's all you got to do. He needs touches. It ain't got to be a handoff. If you want to put him in the pass pattern, put him in the pass pattern. Do something. Make him the hot route. Lord knows we need the hot route because apparently Jalen wants to sit back there with the ball in his hand for 6 seconds. You waiting for some schoolyard stuff to happen. It's like, dude, throw the ball. You know where everybody's supposed to be, and you can't miss it. Go through your progressions and make the right reads. We know you can do it because you've done it before. So we just got to figure out what the problem is. So, Anthony, listen, man, normally I wouldn't say that, but I can't argue with you right now. I cannot argue. I don't understand some of the decisions Brian Johnson's making. However, I will say that some of the plays that are being called would work if we run the play. Jalen's not hitting the receiver or going through his progressions and, or holding the ball too long. Just watching the tape, there was like 3 or 4 plays, maybe more, where Jalen Hurts just held the ball too long. I don't know what he was looking for. And that's why I say, is he trying to force the ball to AJ? I don't know. But we better see a change this week, or we're going to go down to Dallas and get embarrassed again. Because did you remember what happened last time when Dallas came up here? Who killed us? CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson. Their ex-receiver, their number 1 receiver, and their tight end. And who killed us for San Francisco? The same Dallas, Buffalo, San Francisco. We got killed the same way. Both games we got killed the same way. The middle of the field, Nick Moreau couldn't cover a bed with a blanket. Now, I was a Moreau fan because the first half of the year, him and Zach Cunningham got together and they were handling business. They were playing well above what was expected of them. And then, at least in my interpretation, when they brought Nakobe Dean back, it kind of messed up the flow because then it was a rotation. And to me, it just didn't seem it was the same. But the last 3 to 4 weeks, Moreau has been horrible. And then Christian Ellis. Christian Ellis was another dude, another linebacker that I like. Because if y'all remember, I was one of the ones that said Christian Ellis was going to be a dark horse. That he was going to step in and people were going to be like, where did this kid come from? And that still might be the case. But it wasn't that way last Sunday. He got lost in there a couple times. He over pursued, and Debo was running right past him. So what you going to do? What you going to do? He got to be better at that. That's why we paying you. And you see what happened. He got promoted to fan. I think somebody will end up picking him up, or if he clears waivers, we'll bring him back on practice squad. It'll be something like that. So, did you see those two dudes protesting in front of the stadium with the picket sign? Yes, and apparently Nick Sirianni bought him some coffee. But here's the thing: when you see stuff like that, they know that. They know that. I don't know if y'all saw my image post. I should have brought it up, but they know what the deal is. They already know what it is. So Brian Johnson knows what DeAndre Swift can do. And I put this in the post. I was trying to bring it up real quick, but I can't. I posted the image of it. Brian Johnson knows what DeAndre Swift is capable of. The fact that he's not running him more or giving him touches is a choice. It's a choice. And by choosing not to give him the ball, it is to our detriment, in my opinion. I don't care if it's a pitch, handoff, screenplay, check down, whatever it is. Find a way to get him the ball. Just like when A.J. Brown was on that hot streak, you found a way to get him the ball because couldn't nobody stop him. We didn't run. I don't think we ran a jet sweep once. I don't remember seeing it. I have to go back and look, but I don't remember seeing it. Maybe I walked out the room or something. Maybe I was disgusted at the point. But I don't remember us running that jet sweep to get Swift outside. I could be wrong. But what do we have off of that? And why is that the only thing we got to run to get him outside? Quick pitch, skinny pitch. It is, to me, it is so frustrating when I watch San Francisco and I watch Denver and I watch Pittsburgh and Green Bay and any other team, Tennessee, and they pitch their number one running back outside. You mean to tell me that DeAndre Swift is not as fast as Derrick Henry? Get out of here. If Tennessee can run a pitch to the outside with daggone 250-pound King Henry, we should be able to do that with DeAndre Swift. It is a choice not to do it. So we got to figure out and get back to our identity. I heard him say that on one of them ESPN shows that Philadelphia has lost their identity, and our identity is running the ball. We should run the ball. Everything else comes off of the run, not vice versa. If they can't stop the run, the play action works. Your 5 and 7 step drops work. It all works together. But if you don't do it the right way, if you don't try to put it out there, I don't know. Yeah, Shane Steichen ran it last year, but again, if you remember the first 4 games, I don't know what they was getting pass happy. So I don't know, was that the time where Sirianni let go of the reins and just gave it to Steichen and let him roll with it? Are we dealing with the same thing? Where is he getting too involved with what Brian Johnson is trying to do? Maybe this ain't on Brian Johnson. Maybe Sirianni's getting too involved in the play, and we too stuck on the scripted plays and all of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Anthony, you can't say that. You can't say that because who's to say it's not Sirianni telling him to throw the ball so much? We don't know that. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they better do something. They better do something. And guess what? Sean Desai, you got to get it together too, my friend. You got to get it together too. We are last in the league now, I believe, on passing defense. Dead last. Now, the first half of the season, you were making the right adjustments. Things were happening. Now, I understand that the secondary situation was bad, and it seems like the linebacker situation is worse. But guess what? It comes with the territory. That's why they pay you the big bucks. You got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. And we got to do something, or Dallas is going to gut us just like the 49ers did. If Dallas was smart, they would have sets, offensive sets, to put Kevontae Turpin and Brandon Cooks on the inside, just like the 49ers did. Line them up on the end man on the line of scrimmage. So technically, they are tight ends, and they would have to be covered by the linebackers. Mismatch waiting to happen. They win. I don't care if it's Shaq Leonard, or Moreau. You letting them trying to cover a skill position, that's bad for business. Bad for business. So, and I say this all the time, linebackers can run. There's a lot of linebackers that are really fast, but linebackers can't cover. If you got to cover somebody, that means you got to learn how to move your hips. Linebackers are made to stop runs and burly, and some of them can run and cover tight ends. But when you're talking about somebody like DeAndre Swift or Brandon Cooks or Kevontae Turpin, or God forbid, if they manage to put CeeDee Lamb on the inside, that's scary. And that's what a good team would do, is watch the tape of Buffalo, watch the tape of the first Dallas game, watch the tape of the San Francisco game. And all they got to say is, oh, they can't stop it. So that's what we're going to do. Until Philadelphia proves that they can stop you on 3rd and long and prevent you from running across the middle, everybody's going to do it until we prove we can stop it. And we haven't done that yet. Not even close. And whoever we play, Dallas, whoever's next, the Giants, Seattle, they'd be foolish not to. They'd be stupid not to. Everybody, I would attack the middle the same exact way as San Francisco did. The same exact way. Until we stop it. So Sean Desai got his work cut out for him. Or it's gonna be an ugly day. So I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it's with everything. You can't guess what somebody's trying to do. Would the situation be totally different if we made all of those missed tackles? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, it's a mindset. I'm very interested to see how the Eagles come out. Very interested to see. I thought it was weird that, because, and this kind of goes with where the bias of Philly kind of works to our advantage. So I didn't see this until after the fact, when they started showing that the 49ers had came out of the tunnel and they walked in front of our sideline and started jaw jacking with the guys and all of that kind of stuff. And right from that point, I was like, they setting the tone right there. Now, the minute they started doing that, if the whole Eagles team would have joined in and pushed them back and they would have started a fight or whatever, so be it. But the Eagles would have set the tone like, nah, y'all not doing that in our house. That's how you said, but they did it. So it's like one thing I say all the time is like, don't tell me what somebody isn't supposed to do. When they do it, the question becomes, now what? The thing that you said they're not supposed to do, or you didn't expect them to do. Well, they did. Now what? How do you respond? So it's this is an important game. Obviously, because it's Dallas, but more importantly, because of us losing to the 49ers, we have to basically get our footing back to stay atop the NFC East or just the NFC. So this is important. Excuse me. But tell you what, let's make that sneeze. Brought to you by our first sponsor. Hold on. Where we go? Thought we had them. Oh, there we go. Hold on. Royal Billiards is coming up.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
All right. Just asking people in the chat, let me know what you think. What are your realistic expectations for Shaq Leonard? Like, be realistic. Now, I will say this. Based on what I've seen from the linebackers the last 4 weeks, he can't be any worse. Right? Anybody can miss tackles. So he can't be any worse. But from what I've seen of Shaq Leonard, his football IQ is through the roof. So he knows how to play. He knows where he's supposed to be. He knows how to get there. The question now is, can he still get there? When you have back surgeries and stuff like that, that's a whole different ball game. That's the type of stuff where you could be going on along your merry way and all of a sudden your legs stop moving. Like, back surgery is serious stuff. So if he is back to normal, and I didn't think about this until somebody said it today, I heard it on the radio. I think it was Rob Ellis. He took 3 weeks off, I believe, 3 to 4 weeks off. So he wasn't on the team for a while or hadn't played in a while. So he's got a lot of rest. So he's got fresh legs. So obviously you got to take him for face value that he can still move around, do what he's got to do, get to the ball carrier, fill the hole, blitz, whatever he's got to do. He can still play at a high level. He's only 28 years old. But I said this when it happened, and I'll say it again. Teams do not cut good players. They usually don't do it. When that happens nowadays, it's usually a contract issue. You know, look at the running back with the Colts and all the stuff they went through with that. It's usually a money issue. It's not like somebody in his situation, and he was a captain, good in the community. Like, he checked all the boxes. That's the type of dude you want in your organization, period. So, you know, I don't know what his prognosis is, but we're going to find out on Saturday. Because I needed him to come up and make some tackles, come up to make some hits, and we need to see what's what. Is he going to be about this business, or is he going to play like he's used goods? That's a legitimate worry. That is a legitimate worry. So I'm not sure what the correct expectations are, let me set mine. My expectation for Shaq Leonard is to come in and be decent. And when I say decent, I mean he's going to make some tackles. I'm not expecting much if he has to cover, but I want him to do a decent job. He ain't got to be all world. If somebody comes in your zone, all he has to do is, I need you to make the tackle. That's what I need from Shaq Leonard. Every now and then he's going to have to drop back in zone, and we'll see if he can move, if he can rotate the hips, if he can change direction, all of that type of stuff. We'll find that out soon enough. So, yeah, Anthony, I talked about that earlier, man. Tackling is an attitude, bro. You got to set the tone. Linebackers don't make business decisions. Defensive backs do. Safeties don't make business decisions. Safeties come up to hit. But even when you look at Sidney Brown and you look at Reed Blankenship, both of them will come up and lay the wood on you. However, I saw with Reed Blankenship last year and both of them this year, Blankenship and Sidney Brown, they will come up, they will pop you, but they don't wrap up. The tackling, fundamental drills and tackling, they are god awful because they don't practice it. They just don't. And it shows. How many times are we going up, two-hand touching people, trying to push them out of bounds? Or you saw the one play with Morrow where he tried to tackle Debo by his shoulders. It's like, man, come on. Debo was what, 220, 230? Debo is like not a small dude. So no. You got to have the right attitude that every time, I'll flip it. Like when I was a running back, I knew I was going to get the extra. I knew people was going to be trying to give me the business. Underneath the pile, on the bottom of a tackle, all of that. Talking smack in your ears, trying to spit in your helmet, try to reach in your face mask and poke you and dig in your eyes. Or when they getting up, they'll grab a handful of dirt and kind of scuff it back on you to throw dirt in your eye. All of that kind of crap. All of it. But the attitude was, I'm going to get you before you get me. So if I'm running the ball and I'm scanning which way I want to go and I see the linebacker from coming over here, but I'm looking this way, I'm going to turn at the last minute and put my head in his chest because he's not expecting it. Maybe I can bounce off the tackle and get a couple more yards, and I don't know. But I'm going to make him think about it for the next time. That's the attitude that you got to have when you tackle. Yeah, you might get me, but I'm going to make it worth my while. So let you talk. Talk your talk. But my attitude was always because I wasn't a smack talker. But I could give you a good look, though. But the only time I could do that is when I got that first down, when I moved the chains, or when I crossed that goal line, because I'm looking for that dude that's been talking, doing all the talking. That's the first person I'm looking for. And you ain't even got to say nothing. Because I got 6 and you ain't got jack. That's the attitude you got to have. Same way when you making tackles. Oh, there were some boys that, hey, they would step up and it's like, yeah, we know you good, but you going to feel it after this game. That was just the attitude. We know you a good back. We know you good. We know you're going to get yours. But you're going to pay for it every time you touch that ball. That's just the attitude. And Seth was 100% correct. From the time maybe it's me and maybe I missed it, but that was the first time I ever saw Debo return a kick. Maybe I just ain't been paying attention. And he brought it from like 5 yards deep and took it up to damn near the 30, and nobody popped him. When you get an opportunity like that, man, you're supposed to lay the wood on him. To the point where, that's going to be the last time he returned kicks because I'm not trying to get him hurt. That's how you got to think. Tell me you don't realize that them linebackers are licking their chops every time Jalen Hurts run the ball. And now Jalen Hurts is getting into a habit because you can tell when he's going to have his body in a position where he can actually slide. If he's running side to side, trying to get out of bounds, he's in a position where he can slide. If he's running up the middle, most times he's leaning forward and trying to make a move. That's why he took that pop. He was leaning forward, trying to go forward and get to move the chains, and his body really just wasn't in a position to slide. So he had to go down and take the hit. The problem was the first dude didn't hit him. The first dude stood him up, held him up, and then somebody comes across the top and finishes him. That's how you get somebody hurt. Or in this era, that's how you give somebody a concussion, because he's coming off the top and he gonna ring your bell. So it's like, bro, get your ass down. You got to get down. So I don't want to see I don't want to see Jalen Hurts in those situations. I don't. We got too many good backs. Every time Boston Scott gets a chance to get in there, he does something. But again, we don't put him in enough. We don't know what Penny can do. Gainwell, we know Gainwell now he's to the point where when he gets his shot, he makes the most of his shot. They want him to be the third down back. Okay. But let's do something. Gainwell or DeAndre Swift cannot be covered by a linebacker. How come we're not using that? I get sick to death of seeing all these other teams, and the NFL is a copycat league, right? We can all agree on that. How come we the only team that ain't copying? We the only team that don't copy. You look at what other people do better and apply it to your situation. You take your existing plays and you adjust it so you get the same type of motion, or you end up in the same area because you saw something else. That's all you got to do. It's not rocket science, but for some reason, we ain't doing it. So, but hold on. We're going to talk to Carlinos. Hold up.
In our family, food is our daily bond. My nonna, affectionately called Mama by many, found solace and joy in the kitchen, sharing her love through delicious creations. She turned her culinary passion into a flourishing business alongside her husband and sons in 1983. Celebrating 40 years is a testament to our exceptional team, friends, family, and beloved customers. With gratitude, we look forward to the future, expanding our brand to share the highest quality Italian food and wine nationwide. Our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has played a part in our story. Grazie mille.
Hats.com is the premier destination for quality and fashion-forward hats and more, with designs for every style and trend. Locally based and run by Philly sports team fanatics, Hats.com can help you elevate your hat John. Utilize the easy-to-use guides at Hats.com to find your perfect size and style, and shipping and returns are free. Hats.com. Find yourself in a hat. Use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
So when we talk about our expectations, what is everybody looking for? Is it if anybody has your predictions for the game, put them in the chat. First and 10 incomplete, second and 10 run play for 2, third and 8 force the ball down the field. I was watching Greg Cosell, and he was talking about that. And like I was mentioning earlier, he's sitting back trying to wait for something to happen. Go through your progressions. If nothing's there, check it down or throw the ball away. You can't, because think about it. He did that, I want to say 4 times, right? How good was your offensive line blocker to have? How good was your offensive line blocking to be able to have that much time? That's the question. Because they were killing it. I know they focused in on Bosa and Lane Johnson, and them jokers was battling, but Lane got the best of them. But we didn't do nothing with it. We were wasting opportunities. That's why the closer you get to the playoffs, your margin for error gets smaller and smaller and smaller, because you know who you going to have to deal with in the playoffs. We most likely are going to have to see the 49ers again in the playoffs. They're the best team in the NFC, period. So, excuse me, we're going to have to deal with them. So let's deal with them. And we got to get better. And hopefully, we're in a situation where everything that's happened, hopefully, Howie Roseman will put a little bit more emphasis on possibly signing a linebacker, a good linebacker. We should not have gotten rid of TJ Edwards. We should not have gotten rid of Kaiser White. Both of them boys balled last year. There was no reason that we couldn't keep them. There was no reason. TJ Edwards ain't making that much money. I know Kaiser White ain't really making that much money. In the big scheme of things, if we wanted to keep him, we could have kept him. Same thing with CJ Gardner-Johnson. Although I think CJ Gardner-Johnson just kind of outkicked his coverage a little bit. I think CJ was asking for a little bit too much money because for what Detroit paid him, the Eagles could have gave him that. So what I'm going to guess is that he was so far past what they thought was reasonable that they was like, oh, well, we're not going to give you that. So the door, I think he burned that bridge. He possibly could have earned it because it was, he had 6 picks last year? Should have had 11? We were dropping picks left and right last year. Now we can't even get close to a turnover. It seems like we almost getting lucky in turnovers. It's few and far between. Blankenship dropped one against the 49ers. And then we had the one the week before with Bradbury, but we are not forcing turnovers like we did last year, at least not in the secondary. So it's few and far between. It was all good a week ago. You crazy. I put it up for a second. The shout out for the Jay-Z reference. So, but yeah, man, we got I ain't even had a chance to listen to any of the content from the Cowboys fans because they think they're just gonna roll over us, and that's not gonna be the case. I still think we can beat the Cowboys. We just got to stop doing stupid stuff. Because here's what's going to be frustrating, but it is what it is, right? If we come out, I saw that, Anthony. If we come out and we establish the line of scrimmage, if we do what we did last year, attack Micah Parsons, run at him, and it basically neutralizes him because if Lane Johnson plays, Micah Parsons doesn't have a good game. But we got to establish the running game and not abandon it if we're only getting 1 and 2 yards. Something's going to pop eventually. It always does. But we got to give him the business. Jalen Hurts is healthy now. Do what we know how to do. But we got to be able to do the biggest thing is it's the same thing from the last 4 weeks. Can we get some adequate, not good, not great, not elite, not Hall of Fame level? Can we just get adequate play from our linebackers? That's all we need. That's it. Adequate play by our linebackers. The secondary suffers because the linebackers are not supporting them right. Everything rolls downhill. So if the linebackers aren't doing their jobs, you don't want your cornerbacks to be making all these tackles. That means they're getting to the second level a lot. You never want your cornerbacks to be leading the team in tackles. So, Habib, I think they're going to bring Christian Ellis back. I think he's going to clear waivers and they might bring him back. I agree with you. I didn't think they was going to cut him, but I think they were between a rock and a hard place when it came to the roster. So they did what they felt they had to do. I'm still of the ilk that I'm not going to question the moves that Howie's making. He's been too good for the last 5 years. So I'm not going to question that. We'll see in the end, and we can kind of Monday morning quarterback when the season's over with. We should have did this. We should have did that. Basically like what I was saying about TJ Edwards and Kazir White. But I'm going to leave that. I'm going to trust Howie just like I trust Stoutland. I'm going to trust him that he's doing the right thing, trying to get somebody in here. Plus, we ain't even talked about this all night. Maybe he's trying to make room for Zach Ertz to get back. I don't know. I wish we would spend more time giving Albert O a chance, but heck, even in the game, Albert O was open a couple times and Jalen just didn't throw him the ball. So, because I believe Albert O is a player. That dude is too big and too fast not to use him. And when you get people like that, even at the pro level, I'm like, listen, when you got somebody that big, you find a way to use them. We signed that big behind that 6'6" wide receiver, and we had him for what, 2 minutes? I'm like, when you have somebody like that, and I don't know. I'm thinking practically because I'm like, when you got a 6'7" wide receiver with 4.4 speed, and you don't try to use him, dude, DBs are 5'9". There's not going to be defensive backs too much taller than 6 foot. Most of them are 5'9", 5'10". Every now and then you get a safety that's 6'1", 6'2", like that. But for the most part, you're not going to find somebody that can match up with a wide receiver with 4.4 speed that's 6'7". You're not going to find that. So you know what you do? You give them a quick slant, quick out, quick something. You give him a simple route and you tell him every time you catch the ball, you go up like you dunking with 2 hands. That's what you tell him. Who's going to jump with him? Nobody. When you get players like that, you find a way to lose them. You find a way to use them. Because how many times are you going to come across that? So I'm big with Albert O. I want to see what the kid can do. When they got him, immediately he became the fastest tight end that we had. But we had the other kid last year. What was his name? Was it Tyree Jackson? That's another kid at tight end that was super fast. Find a way to use these people. Find a way to use these kids. So, nah, they weren't playing like Edwards and Kazir, but it was about a 4 or 5 game stretch for Cunningham and Moreau. Them jokers was like Batman and Robin. So if we sign Ertz, who gets cut? I would think, I don't know. They're not going to cut Calcaterra. Calcaterra is good. I mean, I like all of our tight ends, but other than Goddard, you name somebody else in our roster that you would rather have than Ertz. Would you rather have Ertz or Stoll? Ertz or Calcaterra? Ertz or Albert O? And I would say Albert O because he's bigger, stronger, faster, and younger. The other two, it would be between them. So, Habib, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. They're not going to cut Brian Johnson. Albert Okweegbunam. Got one of them Nigerian names. Look him up when he played for Denver. The kid is a freak. He's a physical specimen. He's super fast for that big. And we got him, and we're not using him. Or at least they're not getting him the ball. But, yeah. Albert O. Okweegbunam. That is his last name. So we'll see what they're going to do, man. They got we better come correct. Because, number one, you really don't want to hear from all these Cowboys fans again. And we got a chance to knock them out the box and really hamper their chance to get into the playoffs. So we got to handle our business. Plus, again, we're trying to regather our footing going into the playoffs. so we don't lose too much ground. We don't want to do that. I want to be a number one. So everybody, the road to the Super Bowl has to come through Philadelphia. That's what I want. That's what I want. We were a couple of games too late because I was hoping that Sunday would have been cold because West Coast teams don't have a good record in cold weather. But we just got a little bit of rain, but that wasn't the case. Quez Watkins. Yeah, I guess no, he don't know the system because Brian Johnson wasn't here. So Quez, I mean, that catch with Quez, that should have been pass interference, but it wasn't. There's what it is. We didn't get the call. And I thought he had a chance to make that catch. But, got to go up, catch it at its highest point. That's what makes Devontae Smith so good. So, I don't like the fact that Quez comes back and then you just kind of kick Oz to the curb. And I'm like, nah, don't do that. That's one of my criticisms with Sirianni, man. Loyalty over performance. So I want to see the best player on the field, period. If you think you're the best player, but you're not playing up the part, then you're not the best player on the field. It's got to be with consistency. So, we get what we get. Z should get more targets. Yeah, I guess he should. We'll see. I want to see on defense, what are they going to do? Are they going to move Slay around to cover CeeDee Lamb? That's what I want to see. I would like to see that too. Goddard's going to play, I'm thinking. But Bland gets beat. Bland, you can get beat deep, and Bland is ripe for a double move. He's been very good at predicting and jumping routes. That's why he's getting those pick sixes. You got to jump a route, and then you get to a point where the receiver hasn't been able to change his momentum yet. So if he gets his hands on something, he's already going the other way. So he's got a 3-step head start. And he's fast enough. Nobody's catching him. So, but when you do that is a gamble. Props to him because his film study's got to be off the charts. Because you're looking for a tell when somebody's going to release that ball, and he jumps that route, and he has been more successful than anybody in the NFL history. And he's gotten back to the end zone with a pick six. That is a very difficult thing to do. He's figured it out, but it is a gamble. And as good as he is, he still loses. Now, you still got to be able to take advantage of it, and you still got to be able to set that up. You just can't first play of the game, go out and do a double move. You didn't set it up. So we're going to have to run some curls, some comebacks, some outs. We got to set him up for that. And then when you set him up, Jalen got to be able to deliver the ball, so he has to see it. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong or right in a situation like that. If we beat him on a double move, but there's pressure in Jalen Hurts' face, doesn't mean anything. He probably won't get the pass off. So we need a mean, tough guy in the secondary. No, we don't. We need somebody that can cover and can come up and make a hit. That's what we need. This is Bradbury's last year, probably. They'll probably replace him. I don't know what they're going to do with Avonte Maddox because he's been hurt the last couple years. So I don't know what they're going to do with Slay. Slay is still good, but I think he's on the decline. I think last year we got the peak of what was left with Bradbury and Slay. So I don't know what they're going to do next year. But yes, you can find somebody younger, but are you going to find somebody better? That's a hard proposition. So we got even more question marks for next year. So because we're going to be right back in the spot again when it comes to linebackers. You already know that Howie's not going to draft a linebacker, so he's going to be picking out a free agency. So, and then on top of that, what's going to happen with the coordinators that we got? Are we going to stay in this situation, or are we going to go in different directions? I still wish they would have kept the dude that was already on the team for defensive coordinator. I think that would have been much better. I think he was more in tune with what these guys wanted, but Sean Desai came in. They wanted to go in a different direction, and they did. And Sean Desai, he's a good coach, but he's struggling right now. You already know Frank Reich is coming on board. You already know that. It would be up to Frank Reich not to. If he wants to try to pursue another head coaching gig somewhere or whatever he's going to do. But it seems to me that he hasn't been getting a fair shake. It wasn't his choice of the quarterback. And then you only keep him for a year. And it's like, daggone, the cake's still in the oven, man. But he's a victim of ownership. That owner at Carolina right now is horrible. He is god awful. He is the poster boy for ownership getting involved and mess. Anytime you make Jerry Jones look like he got some sense, that's a problem. As meddlesome as Jerry Jones is, this dude's got him beat. And I didn't ever think that was going to happen. He got Jerry Jones beat. Because Jerry Jones still know how to get good players. As much as stuff as he talks, he's still patient enough to see where it goes. And, he's smart enough to know when to make a move. This dude in Carolina I don't know what he on, but it ain't working. And now you're talking about a franchise that nobody really wants to play for. Nobody wants to go down there because you never know what the ownership is going to do. Are you gonna let somebody bring in their own staff and all that kind of stuff? And then if they do, how long are you gonna keep them? How long are you gonna keep them? You ain't even give Reich a chance to, try to figure out what he could do. You at least got to give him 2 to 3 years, at least. But in this day and age, man, everybody wanted to be instant. Everybody would just want to add water and get instant quarterback, instant offensive coordinator. We instant Super Bowl run. It is difficult. It is supremely difficult. And you got to have our window. We still are in our window for a Super Bowl. But as you see this year with the Eagles, it is tough. As you see this year with the Chiefs, it is tough. San Francisco, they're the best team right now. It is tough. Every team, you look at what just happened down there in Jacksonville. Every team, you are one play away. One play away from glory or ruin. Look at the Jets. One play away. 4 plays in, they lose their quarterback. Down in Houston, Tank Dell in on a play, gets his leg rolled up on. One of the best receivers they got, he's out. Now you got your young quarterback who's probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year without one of his best weapons. Every team, one play. All it takes is one play. Jalen Hurts goes down. He takes that hit. If he's 1 inch to the left or to the right, it could have been a whole lot worse. Greg, what's going on, bro? Huge one this week, bro. Huge one this week. We got to come correct. So, no, I did not want Rod Woodson. I saw Rod Woodson because I watched XFL and USFL. Yeah, Rod Woodson needs a little bit more seasoning, but I don't know. It might be something to be said if he doesn't have all of the responsibilities of a head coach. So I'm not that opposed to that, especially as a DC. But I think the guy that we had last year that was helping out Gannon, I think we should have kept him. I ain't got nothing against Sean Desai, but you got somebody that's already in here. The players already respect, knows the landscape, knows the coaches. We should have kept him. So, but we'll see. We got to come correct. Yeah, Greg, that was my thought with the poll question. It can't be worse. I just need Shaq Leonard. All you got to do is be adequate, bro. Can you make a tackle? Let's start there. Can you make a tackle? That's all we need. That's all we need, man. So, hopefully we'll have some better news next week. Hopefully we can get through this with a clean game, get through with a victory. No injuries. Lord knows we've had enough injuries this year, man. It's been crazy. So we're going to see what we're going to see. So, but thanks for joining me. It's a good conversation tonight. We're going to keep it moving. Make sure you hit them like buttons. Make sure you subscribe to A2D Radio if you have not done that. Please and thank you. So I'm going to see y'all guys Sunday. Don't forget, I always go Facebook Live at halftime of the games on Sunday, and I always find some time to go live streaming after on my YouTube channel, which is also called Pro Fan Talk. So check it out. And we're going to have some fun, and go Birds. The Eagles got to put it together, man. Thanks, Ryan. Dude, Anthony, I wanted to get into Dion, but I got to say that for a later date. That's a rabbit hole in itself, man. But I'm going to get out of here, fellas. Check out this week behind Thursday night football game. William, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Trying to get better every week. Come see me next week, 7 p.m. on the Mothership A2D Radio, and bring a friend. All right, I'm going to get up out of here. I appreciate y'all. Peace. Go Birds.